Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Press TV World News. Gun violence continues to claim more lives in the U.S. In the latest incident, a gunman opens fire at a suburban mall in Dallas, Texas. Police say suspect is now dead, but there's no word on the exact number of deaths or people injured. We're now going to swing over to our correspondent for more on the story. Hello there, Colin Campbell there, joining us from Washington, D.C. Hope you're safe and doing well, Dr. Campbell. What can you tell us about this deadly incident there in Texas?
Right now, we don't know exactly how many people were killed by this gunman. Authorities say he got killed. They aren't releasing the names or the specified number of those killed until they have a final call. So they transported about 9 to hospitals after they were shot. Police arrived on the scene at about 6:15 local time because they were answering another call. When they heard the shots ring out, they responded with gunfire, killing the gunman after shots had already been fired. They responded fairly quickly. Several people who were killed. And this happened in Allen, Texas, about 50 kilometers from Dallas. It's about 50 kilometers north of Dallas. And of course, this is not the first time we've seen gun violence happen in Texas. With a very relaxed carrying policy, there were a lot of predictions that we would see gun violence in Texas, and this just happens to be one of the latest incidents as the U.S. climbs towards 200 in the number of mass shootings since the beginning of the year.
Now, Colin, you mentioned Texas and shootings there. We saw that one where a bunch of Hispanics were gunned down not too long ago, just a couple years ago. I think we covered that too together. But overall, it seems like 2023, and I may be mistaken, is it off to a record season when it comes to mass shootings in America?
Yeah, this is one of the highest incidences of mass shootings since the beginning of the year in the past several years. And we've seen a different number of gun policies change where they become more relaxed, not just states like Texas, but also in Florida and other states where they have open carry laws or permitless carry laws. And this means that people have easier access to guns. They can carry their guns in the open. They don't have to apply for a permit necessarily. And of course, this just makes the situation where people resort to using a gun for a means of conflict resolution or any type of dispute resolution. It's a lot easier to access that gun because the laws are a lot easier on gun owners and their access to them.
We have school shootings, we have disgruntled employees, we have mentally ill people out there with guns. I mean, there's so many, just such a myriad of people that use, and you mentioned that, I mean, it's unbelievable how many different excuses people implore to bring these things out and just open fire on their fellow civilians there. And it just seems like, how has this become such a culture in the U.S. and we don't see it? We saw it in Serbia, and you notice it was the first one they had in over 11 years, Colin.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at the laws. A lot of it starts with laws which influence culture. Of course, we've always had a gun culture in the United States. Of course, we could go back to when the United States was founded and they used guns to kill off wide swaths of native indigenous peoples of the country. Guns to control the enslaved African populations. And then it just became part of the culture, which of course is codified in our Second Amendment, where it's the right to bear arms. There was this constant fear that they would become oppressed by England once again. So they needed their guns in order to protect themselves should they ever come under rule from another country again. And of course, this culture just continually perpetuates. And we have seen it transform into law, especially when it comes to lobbying with the NRA and lobbying lawmakers, especially the NRA, an organization that receives millions of dollars, and then it uses those dollars to influence lawmakers who then protect these gun laws which allow for easier access. One of the hardest types of legislation to pass is tougher gun laws, safer gun laws, more restrictions on guns. We've seen lawmakers try to appeal to other lawmakers time and time again without any success. And now we're starting to see the consequences of inaction, especially the lack of political will from our lawmakers and politicians.
We sure do. All right, stay safe there, pal. Thank you for that update from the U.S. Capitol. Dr. Colin Campbell there joining us.